Director Gonzalez obtained his DPhil, Doctor of Philosophy, in Zoology at the Edward Gray Institute for Field Ornithology, that is Oxford, Cubao, and Oxford University in 2012. And he also earned his MS and BS degree here in UPLB. His research interests include the following. It's quite a lot. Ornithology, wildlife biology, conservation biology, vertebrate systematics, phylogeography, tropical evolutionary ecology, ethno-ornithology, and yung one? Ano sa one, di ba? Si Michael, mga 80s band. He's the recipient of the National Academy of Science and Technology 2011. So yung outstanding young scientist for wildlife biology. He's also the outstanding teacher. We got the Outstanding Teacher Award for Biological Sciences back in 2008, and the CES 2002 Outstanding Alumni for Extension, and the 1992 Louis C.S. Puy Memorial Award for Best Undergraduate Thesis in Wildlife Biology and Systematics. So without further ado, let's welcome Dr. J.C. Gonzalez.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, David, for that very wonderful. Ginamit ko yung statement of wonderful. I remember that Louis C. Puy Award. There was an audience. They asked me to give a speech. Oh, I would like to thank my wonderful advisor. So, pagkatapos natin tao, oh, Mr. Wonderful. So yes, wonderful. Parang pamilya. Hindi na tayo nasa webpage ko. So again, good morning, everyone. It's really nice to see everyone. I mean, everybody's almost a familiar face. It's also amazing na nandito tayo today to have the second day of CLADES, and of course, have that interesting connection. Kasi all of us have the same issues and problems that we want to look into. And again, two wonderful talks. So hard to follow up with those two amazing talks, which actually sound what we want to do, is to come together and do that networking and talk about the problems and, well, the solutions that we can do together. So I think I'm not supposed to be the last, but I'd like to talk about making natural history collections relevant to the public. I think that's what things that we need to do, is to put forward ano ba yung ginagawa natin and make it interesting, and of course, for people to learn a lot of the lessons that we do. So in behalf of the Museum of Natural History, I'd like to thank you for your participation. I think it's an amazing team. I'm very blessed with an amazing team at the Museum of Natural History. Hindi po inaano yung barangay, and it's everybody's contribution. But again, I'm very blessed with that, with the amazing curators that we have. We have actually 33 curators, which are all free. So we are seconded staff from the faculty. Of course, we have around 20 staff who are permanent. So I think we're also very lucky in the university for having an amazing team that are geared towards museology. So what I think to emphasize here is yung role natin as not just natural history museums, but also as collections. Kasi some of us, di pa naman necessarily museums. I think we all started as collections. The MAH in 1976 were all teaching collections that were put together by the UPB Board of Regents. So we are celebrating our 41st year. So 40 years, yes, last year. Kung napapansin nyo, we were wearing our maroon shirts yesterday. That was our anniversary shirts. So it's amazing that all those collections transpired into forming the museum. So I hope it's the same story for all the other starting collections, especially from the academic institutions. So our major aims actually in having collections, one of which is to document and study our natural heritage. I think that's our focal mission, is to document as much. I think it was all emphasized again from the previous talks, how important biodiversity is in the Philippines. Di ba pag pinag-usapan natin biodiversity, how would you conserve something you don't know? How would you know how much diversity you have if you can't count them? Di ba? Sabi nila yung maten po ako ng urban biodiversity, paano daw mag-assess ng biodiversity in an urban environment? Sabi ko, 1, little 2, little 3, little Maya, 4, di ba? Parang ang bilang mo is very, but actually beneath that, it's not just the Maya. It's all these other species that we haven't seen. To think of it, yung mga representative na Ateneo, they discovered a beetle in the middle of Ateneo campus. Amazing. So maybe in your backyard, yung hinampas mo na langaw o lamok, ay actually it's a new species. Kasama rin yung tubulo doon sa DNA. So what is important is, again, what Dr. Liao was teaching us is how do we put that and educate the public about that importance. It's translate what we do. Yun nga, masyado tayong ivory tower sometimes that we talk about taxonomy. Yes, we emphasize about scientific names. Mali na nga yun sa pera. But how do we then translate that to the public, that what they can understand? And of course, put that for the benefit of our future generations. So I think is what we do is we strive to infuse natural history. It's amazing because we think about the natural world. It's not just biology. I think Nick is here to attest to that. It also is geology. It also is fossils. It also is everything about we need to know about the natural world. And the word naturalist, I think we get to lose that, touch on that issue. A lot of us start out as naturalists. Aminin nyo na, meron dyan ng bata kayo, kumawa kayo ng garapata, nilagay na doon lang, pinaginay. Diba? Ako nilalagay ko na sa matchbox. But that's how we start as kids, diba? Yung ibang alam na ito, uy, garapata. And then that's how we actually start to think about ano yung connection niya sa atin. Ecological services, climate change. It's amazing how we infuse the original concept of natural history and put that to a very useful context. Another thing that we now look into, I think, is our role in teaching. Again, a lot of us are also university academic institutions. It's also the part of even the National Museum is to educate the people. Especially now with all the changes. Ang sakit sa ulo ng mga changes actually. A lot of us are very afraid of change. But I think we need to embrace that now. I think si Sandra isa na nagsusumbong sa akin. Ilang general na nagpalit sa inyo. Di ba yung mga changes in names? Eto may kasalanan na dito sa dyan. Yung mga palit, ano na ba talaga ang pangalan na? Bufo Marines? Di ba? We all accept, I know it's an alien species, but everybody uses that in the laboratory to dissect. Diba? Manang Bufo Marines. It's Rhinelia marina. So everybody, kasi kahapon din, nagkausap kami ni Mang Pao. Monday nag-meeting tayo about osteichthyes. Diba? Everybody's mas, osteichthyes. Wala lang po osteichthyes. Sarcopterygian at saka Actinopterygian. Tapos si Flor naman in-emphasize saying, how do you actually pronounce things? Narinig ko kahapon si Ma'am Dupo, ang pronunciation ng samurai, or GOP. Then I heard David Attenborough. Siyempre, pag si David Attenborough nga nagsalita, parang tama ata yun, di ba? Argiope. So, it's amazing how we all look into that and actually help translate that to something that we need to educate. Again, I think we are blessed that we can have a tool. Minsan if you think about it, archaeology is one of the other sides of the coin of museums. But I think we have a better job because it's easier to sell live things. Diba? Things that you can relate to each other. So the MNH is a university-based museum. We do have a comprehensive coverage of biological organisms. We want to spread further in our reference collection. One of our bywords that we're starting is from microbes to mammals, because our collection, as you saw yesterday for those who attended the tour, ang hindi nyo nakita ay yung random po. May tatlong 4 collections po ay hindi nakita. Our live collections, which is the Moratorium, and the microbial culture collection, and the algal collection, and the zoological collection, of course, the exhibit. So for those who have time later to visit the actual building of the museum out in Forest, the quad. So it's our mandate to be a key repository and center for research. I think that's all our mandate for all of our collections. It's not just the national, it's of course by law. Everybody's aware of the heritage law. Sila po ang primary role. But of course, it all boils down with networking that we share that role. Kasi hindi naman lahat dapat nasa Manila. Tama si ano na pag binomba uli ang sana naman wala po. Pag nanonood ka ng news, wala siguro magbobombakan. Iba ng bomba yung gawin nila. Ibang bomba na lang. Mahirap po mag-start ulit ng collection. So ours is, what our mandate actually is with the Mount Makili for researcher. We share that responsibility with all the other units in the university, including MCNE, IBS. So marami po kami nag-work to help document and of course conserve their Mount Makili. I think that's one of our legacies also for each of our places. Meron tayong sariling backyard that we need to take care of. And I think that in point to Sir Gawis, even with just field guides, that helps a lot. Uy, marami magagawa ng BPF mamayang gabi, laminator. And the amazing also is putting things easier for us to digest. So we have slogans that we use. So medyo nagbabago siya year by year. So there's some timelines that we follow in terms of slogan. The MNH main slogan is bring nature closer to the people and bring people closer to nature. Mas maganda pakinggan pag si Usamin yung gumawa ng salita na narrator sa ABB. So if you want to hear our ABB, maganda yung pagkakasabi rin. Go to our YouTube channel, Kasaysayan ng Kalikasan YouTube channel for you to see the ABB. And of course, we're putting also our former slogan, one of our slogans also about the decade of biodiversity. I think a lot of people are unfamiliar that it is still part of the decade of biodiversity. It's our role as natural history practitioners to help promulgate and celebrate biodiversity. And of course, we need to enrich the public knowledge. It's really hard to translate what we do into an easier, kasi hindi tayo magsalita in Latin. Doon yata tayo na ano, di ba? Tapos, pag nakita na natin yung pera, tapos sinong tumakas ang pilay nung makakuha ng bagong pera? Di ba? Ano naman yung scientific yun? And I think it's about time that we do in one of these workshops to create a position paper. And actually some museums, most of you do a specimen identification and scientific name verification. Gawa na kaya tayo for money in behalf of the Central Bank of the Philippines. Padala na natin sila at scientific name verification. Another project that Arlen actually showed us earlier, Siluman University and MSU is a one kind of a trio with UPLB in having the Diaspora Esrabor wildlife collection. It's a fantastic collection of 60,000 specimens spread all over the world. The biggest is in Yale University. And of course in the Philippines there are 3. Of course there are also scattered specimens, a few in the National Museum, and the show IIT I think has Rabor specimens. I remember seeing that at the National History Collection in Tring, in Hertfordshire. Nung hinawakan ko yung Zulu Hornbill, doon naka-isa-isa sa pangalan nila. Oh my God, it's amazing. Diba? Katabi na si Wallace, katabi na si Darwin collection. And how it's amazing how these are heritage collections that we never again have. It's a bit sad that what happened to Marawi City, because Marawi has Aga Khan Museum. It has the only Zulu Hornbill specimen in the Philippines. So it's how we need to emphasize that in terms of our head. Of course, each of us would have our own heritage collection. And in our case, we have 100 years in Los Baños of natural history collection. To point to emphasize, I think some of the Chanko collections. How old was Sir Julie?
1930.
And I think there's more than some of them were previous. Maraming sinasira during the war as well. We were able to save. I think one of the, I think I heard yesterday from the mythological collection. The oldest is 1826. Yeah. Doon po yung time na nakolekta siya ni Manny Baloo. Ibang Indian pa rin siya. Natalo na talaga yung Vampire Diaries. It also covers a wide area in terms of collections. It's not just for the war collection again, it goes out to all the specific collections that we have. So ito po yung collections, I think you had a chance to read this yesterday. So Botanical Herbarium, actually the original name, if you go to the international name, it's CLADES College of Agriculture Herbarium University of the Philippines. And of course the mythological herbarium. Yeah, 30. The forestry herbarium and wood collection. Sometimes you don't use those alternative names. Actually, another term for wood collection inside the area. Social pakinggan. And the oratorium. It's another weird name that we have, but we adopted it because it's what we have now. I think we can work around it. For those who don't know, you should try to Google the word portfolio. There's only two things that come out. Portfolio of the Bailey Oratorium in Cornell and portfolio in UPLB. Amazing connection. Because of the term UPCO, UP Cornell. So there was a previous collaboration between Cornell and UPLB. And I think they switched names at some point. This actually is the former Arboretum of UPLB. So we have live collections here as well. Sort of a botanic garden, but it's not. Kasi meron talaga Makini Botanic Garden, which I also hope you visit. It's an amazing collection as well. And of course, Sir JD. Sir JD. Also, I would say at the ESCO, they have with the BD collection, which is 100 endemic shades. And of course, our entomological collection, one of the biggest in the country, if not the biggest. The biggest. Yun yung marami kung sino mas malaki, pero yes, one of the biggest. Size does not matter. It's how you use it. And how it's curated. Zoological and wildlife collection are still trying to build it up. Work includes the Diaspora for wildlife collection. And we also have our special collection. So we're trying to help build up. We have amazing donations. Most of which are from private collections on geological samples, fossils. Naalala ko po isang bata pinagpapasama. Di ba most of us will have exhibits at may visitors kayo na bata. Yun yung naalala ko yung sinabi mong sensory sa museum. We can touch, we can smell. If there are 100 kids, 100 elementary kids na pumasok sa exhibit mo, pawis-pawis, hapon na, yun, sensory experience. Talk about amoy araw. So yes, there was a kid who said, napakayong dinosaur. Mahirap sagutin yun, napabili tuloy ako ng dinosaur model. But I think that's one of the things that we want to share further is catching that interest in paleontology. Diba? A lot of us has gone to a lot of different sciences, but sino na po dito ang paleontologist? We're working on paleontology. Wanted to be a paleontologist when they were kids, for sure, yeah. So I don't have time representation. But I think everybody, dumaan naman tayo sa dinosaur stage, di ba? Wala kayong yung bata kayo. It's amazing that we memorized Latin names when we were 6 and 5 years old. Triceratops, Tyrannosaurus rex. That's a scientific name. Of course, the microbial culture collection, one of the first in the country, and of course the algal collection. So, and of course, Maria is our curator for microbial culture. Pinakamahirap yun, mag-alaga ng, ano sabi niya, hindi nakikita, at yun naman namin buhay o patay. Diba? Para makita ulit, buhay nga ulit. So one of the things we also do is, we don't just exhibit the collections, is we need to build those collections. And so we do a lot of research. And it's amazing that we have a lot of collaborative research now. I think, again, that's what we do, is we share each other's expertise. So ito po yung canopy. We have the canopy project in UPLB. We're sharing with Biotech, FDS, and McKinney Center for Mountain Ecosystems. We also have another one, which is the CSI, the Laguna project with the Picard DOST. Hindi po siya crime scene investigation, coconut scale insect. Pero nice, di ba CSI? So, ganun di ba tugtog niyo pag ano? Ano yung tugtog ng CSI? Ano na na-addict sa CSI series. So, we focus on the, hindi po ako yan na nag-attempt lang po. Okay. So one of our projects is the forest canopy. Mambaw, Ma'am Judy is here. Si James po yung nandun sa taas. James, ikaw yan, di ba? Yung nasa top. O, kasi hindi daw nakababayan after, but ginabi na sila sa nakababa. Hindi po ako mabot sa taas. Hindi daw kaya nung tayo. We also have other projects that we're building up, is looking into developing bioproducts, especially with a lot of medicinal plant species that we have, models for climate change resilience, and of course control of pests and invasive species, as in the case of the CSI project. And of course, one of the major things that we do is we discover new species. I think that's one of our biggest goals, is to help enhance the rich biodiversity of the Philippines. Sabi nga nila, rich mga pinapadami na. I think it's the biggest role of what we do as museum naturalist practitioners. And of course, now we have building up the research, not just with classical taxonomy, but with integrated interdisciplinary methods. I think I'm an example of what we think as we develop further. I've actually, huli na ako nag-aral ng molecular biology. I started when I was 37 with my PhD. Mahirap din mag-absorb. Sabi, you can't teach old dogs new tricks. That's not true, you can. And it's amazing that you put all the tools together, not just with genetics, but also with behavior, bioacoustics, morphology, biogeography. Lahat yun nagagamit nyo to help understand the natural world. And again, it's not too late to start. If you want to start late, that's fine. I think that's how we can do the training workshop. Extension services for the museum, as an example for our practitioners, is we have the biodiversity for beginners short course. Asan na po yung isang alumni? Ayan, si Mr. Binada is one of our alumni from the short course. I think meron po huli ba? Member ng bumalik kayo. Ang isa sa... So yes, salamat sa inyong pagbalik. At na-imbibe sa inyo ang museology. And of course, one of our services would be on specimen identification, scientific name verification, we have internships, we have reference library, and then you have your biodiversity seminar series. So in addition to the exhibits and the collection. So talagang maraming ginagawa around the museum. Medyo hindi na muna kita si Makadsan po yung madilim lang talaga. We also have our role in university, not just university programs, but with national programs. So, tayo po lagi hinihila to attend for free at most and share our expertise. Isa po na major roles that we developed is yung membership namin sa Philippine Red List. So a lot of you participated in developing the Philippine Red List. And now they're developing the PARLC. So BNB po yung PRLC. PARLC, for those in the aquatic environment, they're starting in the Philippine Aquatic Red List. And of course, again, putting it more relevant to the public, ano ba yung ating role as public educators? Education through our exhibits, our dioramas. Again, it's amazing how we remember taxidermy. It's amazing how we actually see. Sino po dito sa pagkakaya ng video? Diba yung mga diagram, maliliit na tao, parang gusto nyo ibalik yun. Kaso nga, ang Lego na lang daw ang gagamitin para mas madali. But yeah, those actually are dying science. I mean, that's a dying art. Actually, science and art are taxidermy. It's amazing how we lost touch. And it's not because of the wildlife act. There's still animals who die, di ba? Hindi namamatay pa rin hayop. Pwede mo pa rin taxidermy yun. Hindi mo naman kailangan mahulekta na Philippine Eagle to do that. There's taxidermy. They don't live forever. Si Manny lang yun. And then you have, at saka daw si Pei. We also can add and mix up. I think Avalon is here to help remind us that you can mix together those two things. If you go to zoos, meron silang museum exhibit. So why not do it vice versa? The same thing with us, that you can add, huwag naman tigre, hirap yung makalaga na tigre, lagay ka sa gitna ng inyong exhibit. There's a few things. So we started out with insects at the Museum of Natural History. It's an amazing way to look into putting up the specimens that actually move. Pwede nyo din pahawak. Sisikin nyo lang muna na pumapayag po yung pahahawakan nyo, hindi na biglang papatong na mas, gano'n nasisipro. The order po. It's also one way to showcase species. Again, it's exhibits like these to highlight endemic species. So we do that also in Makmakili. So again, if you go up, we have a photo exhibit of the flora of the forest canopy. This was Kuya kumukuha ng picture ng Rafflesia. For those who are from UPLB, you see the Rafflesia every March and April. So if you want to see it, come back March, April. I think another important quality is we use social media. And for us, social media is, everybody has their phones, and pinaguligan ni Roger. So we use our phones and our computers to help log in and share our experiences with on Naturalist. So we have entailed all, like us on Facebook, like us on Instagram, Twitter, so nawala yung short 3 minutes. Ano ba yung V something? Vine. Sayang wala na yung Vine. TripAdvisor, for those who want to look into how much reviews you get, kung sino ka ng house later. ResearchGate is also a good way to network. And I think it's amazing we can actually start a Facebook group for this group, for us to network, for those who have Facebook. And lastly, we have YouTube. So we do have a YouTube channel for those who want. Ito po yung mga nag-video dyan. Makikita niyo po yung itsura doon sa ating YouTube channel. So just log into kasaysayan ng Kalikasan channel. That's actually it. And of course, we need to revitalize our exhibits, make it more interactive. We started actually allowing people to touch our specimens. Pero na po kami yung specimen, don't tap the glass, pero kabila, touch me. Medyo na naman masagwa, pero okay na rin po yung touch me. So you can actually help people who have disabilities. So yung ating speedable, yung ating access for people who need to have more sensory experiences with our collections. Hindi lang po kasama yung microbes, no? Eat me. Lagot pwede. Yes. Huwag lang equalize, magtatali ka. Also, we need to emphasize on our connection with our culture and anthropology, ethnobiological importance. I think yun yung point kasi natin yung alarang bato. Nobody knows that anymore. Diba? Ano yung mga local names? I think there's a lot of languages. We're all from different countries, from different regions of the Philippines. And sometimes we don't use, di ba? Ano yung Maya? Maya is not the right word for Eurasian tree sparrow. Sino dito na Cebu? Anong tawag sa Maya? Sa Cebu?
Langso.
Hindi ko lang. Nagilito na naman ako dyan.
Langso.
Gurion, di ba? It's Gurion in Cebuano. And that's the original name of the tree sparrow.
Iba yung Goryo. Pero ang sa
And I think I'd like to end with our notion of, well, it's more of a public notion of museums. They're old, dusty collections. Di ba? Ay, aasmahin ako dito. But not anymore. I think we're trying to change that. I think with funding opportunities now trickling, I think it's an example. National Museum is a good example of funding changes. Di ba? Magkano daw ang binigay ni Pinoy? Secret na lang daw yan. But yes, there is an opportunity for CSRs to help fund. I think this is a good opportunity for us to look into ano ba yung possibilities for us to provide our services better with new funding opportunities, with new linkages. And with that, I'd like to thank you for your attention. You can use those two QR codes. If you want to have a QR, you want to make phones call and you make QR reader, you can use that to get information or URLs, and of course go to our website for further information. Again, thank you for your attention.